January 20th, 2026. And I have to say, looking out the window right now, I don't think I have ever seen the world quite this solid.
It is genuinely hostile out there. I tried to step out onto the porch earlier just to grab a package, and the air essentially bit me. It was a physical assault. As of this week, Zootopia 2 is officially the highest-grossing Hollywood animated film of all time.
That is a massive title to hold. We're talking about beating out Pixar's golden age, the entire Lion King legacy. I mean, everything.
Everything. It has grossed $1.773 billion globally. That pushes it past Inside Out 2, which was the previous record holder at, what, $1.69 billion?
Yeah, just barely a photo finish.
But a record is a record. And just for context on where this sits in the pantheon of cinema history, it is now the #9 biggest film in history worldwide. Live action, animation, everything. It's sitting right there with Avatar and the Avengers.
That is what gets me. It's not just good for a cartoon. It's an economic superpower.
Yeah.
But here's my question. Because I looked at the domestic numbers and they're good, great, even around $390 million.
Right. Very strong.
But that doesn't explain a $1.7 billion total.
Yeah.
That math doesn't add up unless the rest of the world is doing something crazy. What is driving this?
You've hit on the key mechanic here. If you look at the breakdown, the domestic box office is huge, but the international haul is $1.313 billion.
Oh.
And there is one specific market that is doing the heavy lifting.
It has to be China.
Precisely. The numbers coming out of China are staggering. It is the #1 global motion picture association, or MPA, release of all time in China.
All right.
It has earned $619 million in that one market alone.
Wait, pause on that. $619 million.
Yep.
Just from China. That's more than most blockbuster movies make globally.
It is. To put a finer point on it, there was some analysis on Tar Box Office, the Reddit community, where the math nerds really dig into this stuff. And they pointed out that even without China, the film would have hit $1 billion.
Okay, so it was a huge hit no matter what.
A huge hit regardless. But the Chinese market essentially went, to quote one of the users, feral for this movie.
Feral. I like that. I guess you could say they went wild for it.
I see what you did there, Nick Wilde. Very good.
I couldn't help myself. But why? I mean, I know the first one was popular, but why did this specific movie resonate so hard in that specific market to the tune of over $500 million?
It's complex, but the first Zootopia really struck a chord in China because of its themes about rural to urban migration.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, Judy Hopps moving to the big city, dealing with bias, trying to make it. That is a very lived experience for millions of people in modern China. So the IP awareness was already sky high. Plus, the visual storytelling is universal. You don't need a lot of cultural translation for that.
It's not just a funny animal movie. It's a social allegory that translates perfectly. But you made a distinction a minute ago that I want to circle back to. You said it's the highest grossing Hollywood animation.
Yes, that's a key distinction.
Is there a non-Hollywood one that beat it? Because that sounds like a very specific qualifier.
There is, and it's actually a really important distinction for understanding the global film economy right now. The actual #1 animated film globally is China's own Ne Zha 2.
I haven't even heard of that.
Most Western audiences haven't. But that film made $2.2 billion.
$2.2 billion.
Yes. And here is the kicker. It made almost all of that entirely from its domestic market.
That really shifts the perspective on who owns the box office. We tend to think Disney is the undisputed king, but they're technically looking up at a Chinese production.
For sure. Disney holds the podium for Hollywood's Zootopia 2, Inside Out 2, and Frozen 2. They are dominating the export game. But the center of gravity for consumption, it is shifting east.
Before we move off Zootopia, I have to ask about the name. I saw some notes in our stack about Zootropolis and Zoomania. Is this a multiverse thing?
No, it's a lawyer thing. If you're listening to us from the UK or Europe, you probably know the film as Zootropolis.
Why the change? Zootopia is such a perfect pun.
It is, but there were copyright issues. There's a zoo in Denmark called Givskud Zoo that apparently has the rights to the name Zootopia in those territories.
You're kidding me. A zoo.
The zoo! They refused to budge, so Disney, with all its billions, had to rebrand an entire franchise for a continent.
That must have been a headache for the merchandise team. Print half the t-shirts with a different logo.
Can you imagine? And in Germany, just to be different, it's called Zoomania.
Zoomania sounds like a very different kind of movie. Sounds chaotic. Like a rave at a petting zoo.
It does. But the plot remains the same. Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde are back, trailing a new mystery involving a reptile. And I love this detail. The new antagonist, or at least a key character, is a snake named Gary DeSnake,
Gary DeSnake, seriously.
voiced by Ki Hui Kwan.
That is terrible and amazing. It feels like a dad joke that got out of hand in the writer's room.
It's classic Disney. But look, the takeaway here is that franchises are king, and the international market, specifically China, is the kingmaker. You don't get to $1.7 billion without global appeal.
Speaking of appeal, and you mentioned the word feral, we need to pivot to something that is generating a very different kind of heat.
Yeah.
We are moving from talking animals to hockey players.
Ah, yes. Heated rivalry.
This show it's a phenomenon. It's a Canadian sports romance on Crave, picked up by HBO Max, and it is absolutely exploding. And I'll be honest, when I saw the premise, two rival hockey players having a secret affair, I assumed I knew the demographic.
You assumed gay men.
I did. I thought, okay, this is representation for that community.
Yeah.
And looking at the data, I was completely wrong.
Statistically wrong. The data and the cultural commentary we're seeing, particularly from sources like The Guardian, shows that the audience is overwhelmingly female.
Right.
We're talking straight women, queer women, cis, trans. It's a massive female demographic.
The word feral appeared in the research for this, too. Just like the Zootopia fans in China, women are going feral for heated rivalry.
They are. It's the top debut for an acquired title on HBO Max. It was renewed for season 2 immediately. It's a certified hit.
But let's dig into the why, because on the surface, it seems counterintuitive. If you're a straight woman looking for romance, why watch a show where you are explicitly removed from the equation?
This is where it gets really interesting. Sociologists and media critics are pointing to a concept called heteropessimism.
That is a heavy word. Heteropessimism. Is that just being cynical about dating?
Sort of, but it's deeper. It's a fatigue with traditional heterosexual dynamics in media. Think about your standard romance, even the good ones like Bridgerton.
Okay.
There is almost always a gendered power imbalance. The man is rich or powerful or physically dominant. The woman is often the one who has to navigate his emotional unavailability or fix him or worry about her safety.
Right. She has to survive the relationship as much as enjoy it.
Exactly. Even in fantasy, the patriarchy tends to follow you.
Yeah.
But in heated rivalry, you have Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov. They are both men. They are both elite athletes. They are both rich.
So the playing field is level.
Completely level. That gendered hierarchy disappears. So for the female viewer, it becomes a sort of safe voyeurism. You get the romance, the passion, the slow burn, which the fandom loves.
Which sapphics love, according to one of our sources.
That's the quote. Sapphics love a slow burn. And you get all that, but without the baggage of misogyny or gender roles.
That is fascinating. It's like a vacation from the power dynamics of the real world. You get to just enjoy the emotional core of the story without any of the junk.
One source described it as a vision of non-toxic masculinity. It's a masculinity that doesn't require a woman to constantly validate it or submit to it. And because of that, the women watching it can just enjoy the emotional connection between the characters without flinching.
Plus, I imagine the actors help. Hudson Williams and Connor Story.
Oh, the chemistry is reportedly off the charts. They sell the enemies to lovers trope perfectly.
Yeah.
And the production has been smart about leaning into the nostalgia, too. The music choices are very
I
deliberate.
saw that. They're using Wolf Parade and TATU.
All the Things She Said by TATU caused a massive streaming spike.
That brings me back to high school. Standing in the rain, pretending to be angst-ridden.
Exactly. It's hitting that nostalgic nerve for millennials while capturing a whole new Gen Z audience who are hearing it for the first time. It creates this cross-generational obsession.
You know, this actually transitions perfectly into the next thing in our stack. We're talking about fandoms going wild, but we have this really interesting academic paper from Chapman University that kind of explains the mechanics of why fans latch onto things like this.
Yes, this is a thesis titled Fan Fiction as Searching for Significance in the Academic Realm. And it introduces, or rather highlights, a concept by Henry Jenkins called textual poachers.
Textual poachers. It sounds like a crime, like they're hopping a fence to steal the story.
In a way they are, but Jenkins argues it's a compliment. The old way of looking at media was passive consumption. You watch heated rivalry, you enjoy it, you turn off the TV. End of transaction.
But that's not how the internet works. At all.
No. Jenkins argues that fans are active, they poach characters, they take them and create new meanings that the original creator might not have intended.
So this is where fan fiction comes in. It's not just copying, it's remixing.
Right. Jenkins argues that fan fiction isn't plagiarism, it's a reaction. It's born out of love, sure, but often it's born out of frustration or anger.
The anger part is interesting, like, I didn't like how that ended, so I'm going to fix it.
Exactly. It's a form of correction. The paper talks about how marginalized groups, LGBTQ plus individuals, people of color, often use fan fiction to insert themselves into narratives where they've been excluded.
Right.
There's a term for it. Race bending,
Oh.
or just queering a text. You take a straight narrative and you twist it to make it fit your identity because the mainstream media won't do it for you.
Which is incredibly meta in the context of our last topic, because isn't Heated Rivalry based on a book series?
It is. It's based on Rachel Reed's Game Changers novels.
No.
But here's the absolute kicker, and this proves the textual poaching theory perfectly. Rachel Reed admitted that the first draft of the first book wasn't about hockey players.
No way. It was fanfic.
It was Marvel fanfic, specifically Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes.
Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
The very same.
Yeah.
She took that dynamic, the loyal to the end, tragic, deep bond between those two characters, and she filed the serial numbers off.
Wow.
She changed the names, changed the setting to the NHL, and created an original property.
That is the ultimate proof of this theory. You take these characters you love, you poach the dynamic because Marvel wasn't going to let them kiss, and you build something entirely new that then becomes its own global phenomenon.
It shows that the boundary between fan and creator is dissolving. The fans are the creators now. They are rewriting the culture in real time, and Hollywood is starting to pay the check.
Speaking of creators and adaptations, and speaking of massive fan bases, we have some huge news from the theater world. And this feels like a collision of fan bases, too.
It absolutely is. We are talking about the Stephen Sondheim revival of Sunday in the Park with George.
Coming to London's Barbican Centre in summer 2027. And the casting. Talk about star power.
It is genuinely massive. We have Ariana Grande playing Dot and Jonathan Bailey playing George.
That is a fascinating pairing. Obviously, they just worked together on the Wicked film, so the chemistry is tested. But Sunday is not Wicked.
No, and that's the risk and the excitement here. Wicked is pop opera. It's big, belty, accessible. It's designed to be a spectacle.
Right.
Sunday in the Park with George it's intellectual. It's based on the Pointillist painting by Georges Seurat. It's about the obsession of making art and the terrible cost it takes on your personal relationships.
It's intricate mathematical music. Sondheim is notorious for being difficult to sing. It's not something you can just auto-tune your way through.
Not at all. Finishing the Hat isn't a pop song. It's a nervous breakdown set to music.
It really is.
But Ariana Grande has those Broadway roots. She started in the musical 13 way back when. She has the vocal chops. And Jonathan Bailey won an Olivier Award for Company, another Sondheim show. So the credibility is there.
The hype for tickets is going to be insane. We're talking about Swiftie-level demand for a high art musical.
Tickets go on sale May 2026. And the source material suggests that if you actually want a chance, getting a Barbican membership is the only safe bet. If you wait for general release, you're likely not getting in.
Noted. I feel like this production is going to be one of those cultural moments where the ticket is a status symbol. Like Hamilton when it first launched.
I think so. It's directed by Marianne Elliott, too, who did that brilliant Company revival. So you have a director who knows how to modernize Sondheim paired with two of the biggest stars in the world. It's going to be huge.
Okay, we've talked about the fun stuff, the box office records, the romance, the musicals, the fantasy side of the equation. Now we have to turn to the reality side. Because while we're consuming this content, the machinery behind it is grinding some people up.
This is the forensic part of the deep dive. We have two major legal stories that really highlight the issue of vetting, accountability, and what happens when the cameras stop rolling.
Let's start with the reality TV side. The Apprentice. This feels like a scandal that shouldn't happen in 2026, yet here we are.
It is a classic yet preventable disaster. A candidate named Levi Hodgetts Haig, who was set to appear on the new series on the BBC, was exposed for having some truly horrific social media posts from back in 2012 and 2013.
What kind of posts are we talking about?
The worst kind. Racist, sexist, insulting Muslims, calling women derogatory names, the full spectrum of offense.
This is 2012. That's over a decade ago. But he's 33 now, so he was, what, in his early 20s?
Around that age, yes. He apologized, called them historical posts, said he's ashamed. But the fallout isn't just on him, it's landing on the production company, Naked, and the BBC.
Of course.
Because the question everyone is asking is, how did you miss this?
Right. I mean, we all have access to Google. I can find my high school friend's MySpace page if I dig hard enough. How does a major network production team with a legal department miss a public Twitter history.
Well, we have a source here from Sterling, a major background check company that sheds some light on the systemic issue here.
Okay.
They note that 43% of hiring managers have found disqualifying info online. But in media, the vetting process is often rushed. It's high speed.
We need a cast by Friday.
Exactly. They are processing thousands of applicants, and there is a volume issue. But it's also an ethical gray area that production companies struggle with. How deep do you dig?
I see.
Do you go back to when they were 15, 18? Do you use AI to scrape every comment they've ever made on YouTube? Where does it stop?
But public tweets seem like the bare minimum. That's not deep digging. That's surface level.
Yeah.
This wasn't a private blog, right?
Yeah, you would think. The BBC is demanding assurances now, but the damage is done. It ruins the immersion of the show before it even airs. It forces the audience to view the content through the lens of the scandal rather than the entertainment.
Now, the second legal topic is much more serious.
Yeah.
And much more complex. This involves a very well-known actor, Timothy Busfield.
Yes, Timothy Busfield.
Okay.
People know him from The West Wing, Field of Dreams. He's been a fixture in Hollywood for decades, both as an actor and a director. He's been charged with child sex abuse in New Mexico.
The details here are disturbing. It involves 11-year-old twins on the set of a show he was directing, The Cleaning Lady.
Correct. But what makes this case particularly complex, and we have to be very precise here, is the counter-narrative coming from the defense.
Right.
Because this isn't just a simple denial. Busfield's lawyers are aggressively attacking the credibility of the accuser's parents.
Yeah, reading through the report from people, the parents' background is, well, it's extensive.
Extraordinarily checkered is the phrase the lawyers used. They are alleging that this entire allegation is a case of revenge and a money grab because the twins were recast or fired from the show.
And they brought receipts regarding the parents' past.
They did. The father, Ronald Rodas, is a disbarred lawyer. He was convicted of federal wire fraud in a $6 million scheme involving homeowners.
$6 million. That is not a parking ticket.
Yeah.
That is major, sophisticated fraud.
No, it's serious. And the mother, Angela Sell, reportedly has a history of civil judgments, fraud, writing bad checks at casinos.
Wow.
The defense also claims there are witnesses who heard her say she would get her revenge after the kids were let go.
So you have a situation where serious allegations are made, allegations we must take seriously, but the people making them have a documented history of deception and financial desperation.
It creates a legal minefield. And it's worth noting that an independent investigation by Warner Bros. Found the allegations to be unfounded. But obviously the police found enough probable cause to charge him, so now it goes to the courts.
It really highlights how messy the industry can get behind the scenes. You have child actors, ambitious parents, power dynamics on set. It's a volatile mix.
It is. And unlike The Apprentice case, which is about digital history and vetting, this is about credibility and motive. It's going to be a very ugly legal battle, and it shows the dark underbelly of what happens when children are in the workplace of Hollywood.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Let's take a breath and zoom out a bit, because we've also lost a legend this week. Someone who defined a very different, much more glamorous era of fame. A time before digital footprints and Reddit detectives.
Valentino Garavani.
The man who literally owns a color.
He does. He passed away at age 93 in Rome. And when you talk about jet set, you are talking about Valentino. He didn't just design clothes, he designed a way of living.
The tan, the pugs.
The yachts.
The pugs are iconic. He lived life at a level of opacity that we just don't see anymore. He was the king of fashion, and his partner, Giancarlo Giamatti, was the prime minister.
I love that description. And the legacy is, of course, the Valentino red. Pantone recognizes it. It's that specific mix of poppy and crimson. He had a quote about it. I realized that after black and white, there was no finer color.
It's bold, it's confident, it's exactly who he was.
And he knew when to exit. He sold the company, he retired, but he kept the lifestyle. He represents a time when fashion designers were true celebrities, living like royalty, untouched by the kind of scrutiny we just talked about with Busfield or the Apprentice contestant.
Speaking of living like royalty and perhaps exiting the spotlight, George Clooney.
A different kind of exit. George and Amal Clooney have been granted French citizenship.
So he's officially French now.
Dual citizen. But the motivation is what interests me. It's not just about liking croissants or the wine in Provence. It's about privacy.
Because France has stricter laws.
Much stricter. Clooney specifically cited the laws against paparazzi photographing children. In the U.S., it's still the Wild West in many ways. If you are in public, you are fair game. In France, you can't just snap photos of kids and publish them without consent.
That connects back to what we were saying about Busfield and the child actors in a weird way. It's about protecting children in this industry. Clooney is basically saying, I have the money and the power to remove my kids from this ecosystem.
Exactly. They own the domaine du Canadel in Provence. It's a retreat. It's a way to control the narrative by literally changing your jurisdiction.
It's the ultimate power move. I don't like the laws here, so I'll become a citizen somewhere else.
Must be nice.
Must be very nice. I'd love to become a citizen of somewhere warmer today.
So if we look at this whole stack today, what's the through line? We started with control.
I think it's about control, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Think about it. Zootopia is Disney controlling the global box office through massive franchise power. Heated rivalry is fans taking control of the narrative, rewriting masculinity because the mainstream wasn't giving them what they wanted.
And then you have the legal stories, the BBC losing control because they didn't vet a contestant. Timothy Busfield fighting for control of his reputation against parents who allegedly try to control outcomes through fraud.
And Valentino, who controlled his image until the very end. And Clooney legally maneuvering to control his family's privacy.
It's a tug of war. We often think of entertainment as just stuff we watch, but it's really a battle over who gets to tell the story and who gets to profit from it.
And who gets to rewrite it.
Exactly. The fan fiction writers are proving that the consumer isn't just a consumer anymore. They are active participants. They are poaching the content and making it theirs.
Which brings us to the big question to leave everyone with today.
We've talked about vetting contestants, vetting heroes, and fans rewriting scripts. In an age where a digital footprint lasts forever, like that Apprentice contestant, and fans can just take your characters and make them gay hockey players, who actually owns the story?
Is it the creator? The corporation?
Or is it the algorithm that archives it all?
Something to think about while you're frozen inside your house today.
Stay warm, everyone.
Until next time, keep diving.